Hello students, welcome to our today's session. So in our previous session we had seen what are the determinants of dividend policy. Now let's understand what is the relevance of dividend in valuation of a firm. In this case we have got three particular models, three propositions from three different people. Two of the models like Walter's model and Gordon's model actually tell us that it's not, dividends are very much relevant when you are valuating your firm. Okay, but when it comes to Modigliani and Miller hypothesis, they tell us that it's not relevant. It's like there's something called as residual theory of dividends, and you give the dividends when you are left with excess of cash only, right? After doing your business, you are left with some profit. Out of that profit, you are actually paying them only the excess of cash whichever is left out, only the profits you are paying them, and hence it will not have any direct impact on valuation of the firm. So let's study that when we are dealing with Modigliani and Miller hypothesis. As of now, Walter and Gordon have clearly stated us that dividend is very much relevant when you are evaluating the firm's market value, right? When you are evaluating the firm's market value, it the dividends are very much important. So why is that important? Let's try to understand this. There is something called as internal rate of return, correct? Or there is something, it's like it is nothing but firm's rate of return. Firm is earning some amount of returns on its investment. For example, if a firm is having a particular investment, for example, let's consider a machinery or land or building. So these are investments of a firm, correct? These firms, when they have invested in these assets, they would be earning some amount of returns, correct? Let us assume that to be R. Let's assume that to be R. Also, there is something called as cost of capital. What is cost of capital? The cost which is dealt in procuring the funds. It includes all your dividends paid or interest paid. Correct? We actually have seen what is cost of capital in our previous modules. Cost of capital is like what you are paying to the your shareholders or your preference shareholders or your debenture holders, etc. So if this rate of return of on investments, if rate of return of investments is higher than your cost of capital, what does it mean? You are earning more but you are giving less. Hence, these things, this difference will actually give you a positive rate of return, correct? You are at a gain since you are earning more from your investments. However, you are giving less to your investors. So what does it mean? It means that firm is actually satisfying its equity shareholders, or firm is satisfying its investors. That is the proposition what we can derive out of this model. So let's analyze this. The firm would have an optimum dividend policy, cost of capital, or required rate of return. There is something called as optimum dividend policy. What is optimum dividend policy? Optimum dividend policy is something that is determined by the relationship of cost of capital and your firm's investment, return on investment. To simplify these things, let's understand, to keep it simple, it's like if the return on investment exceeds cost of capital, I repeat, if the return on investment exceeds cost of capital, the firm should retain the earnings, whereas, on the other hand, it should actually distribute the earnings to the shareholders in case the required rate of return exceeds expected rate of expected return on firm's investment. I hope it is clear now. It's like, see, if you are earning more on your assets and you are supposed to give less, you need to retain your earnings. When it comes to your dividend payment policy, you need to be little stringent because you can reinvest all those upload back funds, all those retained earnings. You can invest it in various assets because it's like your firm is earning more. The investments whichever you have made are earning more, so invest in further assets like that and gain more and give in a future date your shareholders will receive more because your firm will be valued high. If my investments are giving me higher returns, what does it mean? It means that the investments are very capable and it will be valued more in the future, and that is the reason the valuation of firm comes into picture. I hope now it is clear as to why dividend what is the relevance of dividend. If let's see the other case, if the returns earned by your investments are low and the cost of capital is very high, what you need to do is that you need to give all the, you should not have any retained earnings because you give everything as dividend because at least your shareholders will be happy that they are receiving some current earnings which they can actually invest it elsewhere. If cost of capital is very high and the rate of investment what you are generating in your business is very low, in that case you need to give away the dividends to your shareholders. You should not have much of the retained earnings. If you give all the dividends to your shareholders, they'll be happy that there is some amount of current income for them. This current income will be available for them to reinvest it elsewhere, right? This is what is meant by Walter's model. Okay, let's consider the last thing. What would happen if R is equal to K? Whatever the investments you are, return on investments you are gaining, you are actually able to meet the cost of capital. Cost of capital and return on investments are equal. So what do you do in those cases? In those cases, it doesn't matter if you have whatever dividend payout ratio you have because whatever you are getting, you are giving it to your equity shareholders. If you have 100% retention and 100% if you are investing it in your business itself, it doesn't have much of the impact on the equity shareholders, right? So it doesn't matter. Your equity shareholders can actually, it's as good as they taking the money from you and investing it elsewhere, or they can even leave it with you so that you keep doing your business and it's like they don't see much of the difference. So this is about your Walters relevance. Let's study. These formulas, please by heart or both the formulas. P is nothing but price of market price per share. K is cost of equity. G is growth rate. So yeah, E is nothing but earnings per share. D is nothing but dividend per share. Let's see the assumptions of Walter model. What does Walter model say? Walter model says that when you want to consider this Walter model, what would be the key assumptions? You need to keep all these things in mind. All financing is done through retained earnings. Retained earnings is the only form of financing. There is nothing, no other debt or something like that in your business. With additional investments undertaken, the firm's business risk will not change. For example, if initially we discussed about your firms investments like buildings, machinery, and all those things. Even if you purchase a new investment, the firm's business risk will not change. Correct? There is no change in key variables, namely beginning earnings per share, dividends per share are same. The firm has perpetual life. It means that firm is not going to end any soon. I mean, it's like firm will not get liquidated sooner. So these are the assumptions of Walter model. So I've taken one example. The following information is available in respect of a firm. Capitalization rate, cost of equity they have given, earnings per share they have given. Earning per share is the profit actually earned per share. It's not like what you are paying. It is what you have earned. Out of that, you can retain some amount of money and give it to the equity shareholders, which becomes your uh, dividend per share. Dividend is different from earning per share. Earning per share means that the total amount of profits earned per share. So dividend policy on market price. We need to show them how exactly it is affecting. Okay. First, what I've done is that I've taken. Okay, let's understand this. Capitalization rate. You guys know that is cost of equity. Earnings per share is 10 rupees. 10 rupees we have earned per share. Assumed rate of return on investment, assumed rate of return, okay, is 15%. What does this mean? It means that the I mean whatever returns we are generating from the business, or the rate of return on investments is higher than cost of equity. 15% and 10%, you guys need to consider this 15% and this is 10%, correct? When you consider these both, let's see how exactly the valuation of firm changes. So I've taken payout ratio. This is like you can take 0, 25, 50 and 50, 75 and 100. You can show it in 5 different degrees. You can even take 10, 20, 30 like that, which is, I mean, or else even you can take it as 0, 50, 100, right? For our example purpose, I have actually considered dividend payout ratio to be 0%, 25%, 50%, 75% and 100%. These dividends are paid based on this earnings whatever was there, correct? If it means if they say 25% dividend payout ratio, which means that dividend will be 2.5 per share. So I've made this calculation. So our formulas, this formula you guys need to, I mean, just take a look at this formula. Dividend plus R by KE into E minus D whole divided by KE, correct? D is nothing but 0 in this case because you are not paying any dividends, correct? So just give me a moment, I'll correct this thing. Yeah. So when we substitute this, we arrive at 150 per share. Please take a book and pen. Note down the formula. Note down this formula: D plus R by KE into E minus D whole divided by KE. D is nothing but dividend. E is earning per share. Same thing I have substituted here. Since dividend payout ratio is 0, this becomes 0. D plus 0.15, that is your R is 0.15 divided by cost of equity is zero point 0.1 or capitalization rate into 10 minus 0. 10 is nothing but earnings per share. 0 is your dividends paid, whole divided by 0.1, that is cost of equity. Solving this equation, we arrive at 150 per share. Similarly, I have considered 2.5, 5, 7.5 and 10 per share. So when you guys look at this, let's first note all these things down. Later we'll conclude, right? So when we have 100% this thing 100% dividends paid, we'll arrive at market value per share is 100. So initially it was 150, 137, 125, 112, 100. So according to this formula, if you guys closely analyze, what I mean, it's like the returns what you are generating in your business is higher than the cost of capital, correct? So here if you see, if you have zero dividends paid, the share price is 150. If you are paying 100% of dividends, the share price is 100. So what does it mean? The high, I mean, when you are very stringent in giving away your dividends, or if you don't pay your dividends, your share prices are valued more, because if the retained earnings are flowed back to your business, you will be earning more profits because your rate of return on investments is higher than cost of capital, correct? So this is how you need to write your conclusion. So this is 0.8, 0.8, 0.8 is like it is less than your cost of equity. The return on investment is less than cost of equity or capitalization rate. In this case, what will happen? If dividend payout ratio is 0, the price of share is 80, correct? If you increase dividend payout ratio, if you guys analyze this, it is vice versa. Here if dividends was null, or if you don't pay any dividends, it was 150, and it gradually started decreasing. However, in this case, it will start increasing if you pay dividends, because they can earn more profits by investing your dividends elsewhere. Instead of you flowing back their dividends and paying the same rate of return, you can actually give them their dividends back so that they can invest those dividends elsewhere, which have higher rate of return. So similarly for this thing, the dividend payout ratio, which is very much equal to your cost of equity, that actually remains the same. There are no changes. So this is about your Volter model. Please be very much careful with these formulas. By heart both the formulas, right? Yeah. So this is about Volter's model.